Greetings, welcome to Shadowstar. I'm Ri'shad, slightly stressed out, but trying to get back into a good mood. How are you doing? Welcome everyone to this quick, not so quick, overview video. A quick tidbit that I want to add on to this though is, although this is a glance at and discussion on an upcoming ship about to be released, I do believe this week, this is the perfect time for me to also mention that I will be now addressing every single ship I've already reviewed, plus more, in new, fresh and updated reviews. This is due to the recent changes in Star Trek Online. New implementations, new additions, and simple reshuffling of things has meant that a lot of older reviews made by people will no longer be relevant. They will have some basis in relevance around certain aspects and certain discussion points, but let's per se saying certain ships haven't got enough firepower because they're extremely lacking in tactical console slots isn't the case anymore, because they can get firepower elsewhere. And that's going to be the important part to these new fresh reviews that I'll be doing. And from now on I want to make sure it's very specified here. Yes, my reviews are longer. Quick reviews are not my thing. I'm a detailed reviewer, and you will be getting from me discussions and viewpoints that will discuss how the ship can be utilized in different areas and different ways. And so, giving myself a little bit of a pause there, let's go take a look at these lovely stats. But before we get there, and yes, I apologize for looking at a blog post, I need to discuss a couple of things. A little bit of anger, disappointment. If you are uninterested in anger and disappointment, I would recommend jumping forwards a little bit until you can see me looking down at the stats. Because here's the important thing I need to know. This is a Gamble lockbox ship, part of the Protostar lockbox. But I really want to know how Cryptic is getting away with doing this. So, I'm asking those of you watching right now, please fill me in. Let me know how this stands legally speaking, because as far as I'm aware, in the UK, the whole game could need to undergo a new check to, is it suitable to a certain age group? Because here's the thing, the Protostar Temporal Science Spearhead, this beautiful Protostar class, is from Star Trek Prodigy. And you know what, I love the show, nothing against it. Just hearing this ship was coming to the game got me extremely excited and hyped up. I was in a great mood for it. But then my autistic mind went to thinking and started going, how is this legal? Here's the thing. Star Trek Prodigy is not your average Star Trek show. It doesn't take an average place in the Star Trek universe, for God's sake. It's different. And I don't mean because it's animated. Hello, Lower Decks. No, I mean because it's aimed at children. The purpose of Star Trek Prodigy was to bring in new viewers, new fans, and as such it was aimed at young children, well, not young children, but those of mid-childhood, teenage years, very young adults. I would classify it as an age group between 7 and 20. That makes only 2 years of the targeted audience actually being over 18, and therefore, if you follow what I know to be gambling laws, based on my own workplace and what I know of gambling laws there, that would make this illegal, because it is primarily targeted, the primary target audience of Star Trek Prodigy, and by connection the Protostar class, is under 18s, people who do not meet a certain demographic. And any gambling that is targeted towards this younger age group has strict laws in place, because gambling cannot be targeted at, quote, vulnerable individuals. That is a breach of the Gambling Act. This is targeted at vulnerable individuals by definition, by extension and definition, which means I question the legality of this. But that has just meant that I have a dark cloud sitting over this, combined in with the fact that I hate gambling in this game anyway, because I'm autistic, and guess what that makes me? One of those vulnerable individuals, because yeah, autistics can have a problem when it comes to gambling. Okay, well, with that aside, this is why I warn you guys, seek non-gambling methods to acquire this ship. Rant over, because let's get down to here. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I read Protostar Temporal Science Spearhead, I got super excited. But when I came and looked at these stats, the first thing I noticed was, hang on a sec, this isn't what Stu 1701 was mentioning. Hang on a sec, this isn't what we saw in the goddamn stream. So yes, I'm going to side note here. Now, like I said, I go into detail. I'm not a standard reviewer. I'm going into detail here. This blog post is wrong. It has errors. I don't know how many, but considering the consoles is wrong, let's have that side noted. Now, maybe they adjusted things since they announced the ship a couple of weeks ago, but from what we saw in the stream to what we're seeing now, there are errors. My favourite one being the ship is definitely far more agile than a turn rate of 9. But let's address this, shall we? We have a modifier of 1, shield modifier of 1.6, 4 forward weapons, 3 aft, 3 device slots, a apparent turn rate of 9, an impulse modifier 0.21, an inertia rating of 45. Actually, an apparent inertia rating of 45, because even that doesn't look right. Bonus power settings are +5 to both auxiliary and shields, with a +10 to, to engine power. We then have the ability of quick dual cannons, secondary deflector, sensor analysis, subsystem targeting. This is a science ship, molecular reconstruction mechanics, and along with the science vessel starship package, which is going to really help this ship out, we have the starship trait hex grid shield focusing. For those interested, the Admiralty stats are as followed: engineering 42, science 47, tactical 37, special effect plus 35 science when this ship operates alone. Makes a lot of sense for a ship that is so science based. Oh boy. Oh boy! Do you know where we're going from here? I hope you know where we're going from here, because I don't know where we're going from here. Hang on a second, I'm just gonna... Oh, you've got to love the new mechanics of this old Windows 11. Look, this ship has very clear weaknesses that I'm now going to discuss. But I'm going to want to point out that this is why I'm doing brand new reviews. Because what would be a very clear weakness is not so clear when you think about the full expanse of what you can now do. So, bridge officers are a commander science with temporal operative specialization, lieutenant commander engineering with miracle worker specialization, a lieutenant commander tactical, an ensign science, and a lieutenant universal. The consoles are 2 tactical, 4 engineering, 5 science. That universal isn't supposed to be there. Whoops. Unless they've decided to add it after the stream, in which case, ooh, pretty. It would mean that after dual X upgrading, you'd have 3 universal slots and the ability to have 5 tactical console slots if that was the case. But no, actually, that universal is probably not supposed to be there, and as such, the console is probably supposed to be only max upgradable to having 2 universal slots with the X upgrade, and as such, giving you the maximum of either 6 engineering, maximum to 7 science, maximum to 4 tactical. Now, quickly, I just want to mention that if I was going to change anything on the ship, it would be to change the turn rate. It would also be to balance out tactical and engineering. And this is purely because, to me, hell, actually, for the lack of it, I would probably try to balance as much as possible tac, engineering, and science, because this ship did seem very well rounded. But I get why they went with where they went with, and the base turn rate there, 9, that's pathetic. The minimum to me should be 12. An absolute minimum to me, that should be 12. Based on what we saw the ship doing, it looked like it might be 15. So, well, we'll see what we see. I do want to note that this ship has also got the Proto Warp, which is a really potently fast slipstream drive. I can see people wanting this ship for Tour of the Galaxy, purely because this will make it really damn easy. It's kind of going to break it, but that's besides the point. Actually, maybe it's not, because like I said, I want to be detailed. So let's discuss what this ship can actually do. We'll start off with that Tour of the Galaxy. This Proto Warp capabilities, along with the way that you can modify the ship out and to exponentially improve its warp capabilities, its maximum warp speed, its maximum quantum slipstream, its maximum slipstream turn. You can modify these all out very well thanks to this ship's setup. This will result in the ship being probably the best for Tour of the Galaxy. It is now essentially, to me, the space racer. The fastest ship you can get. At least for Tour of the Galaxy. Outside of that, let's discuss its biggest weakness. And yet, not so much. This ship is very potently strong in its shields, but disgustingly weak in its hull. However, thanks to its setup, it can, on a level, hull tank. And you will find although it would be somewhat awkward, there is mostly opportunity to use a hybrid version of tanking to give the ship the maximum tanking capability that you want. But shield tanking and regenerative shield tank is this ship's underlined strength. So much so that I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a lot of people that get this ship who like tanking using this ship as a shield tank. There is just no way I can deny that one away. As such, my shield tanking score for this ship is easily 10 out of 10. And my base overall tanking score for it is 8.5 out of 10. So, done well there. But if we step away from that and go to its DPS, this is where a lot of people will probably be thinking, oh dear, he's covering its weak spot. No. I want to make that clear right now. No. Actually, I'm telling you right now, this ship has a lot of DPS capability. Ignoring the basis levels right now, because as far as kinetic DPS goes, I'm going to be slamming that in with the final subject I'm going to be talking about. That's probably where you're going to want to be using kinetic DPS the most. As far as energy builds go on this ship, you will be surprised. Thanks to new advanced engineering consoles and even advanced science consoles, this ship can and will perform admirably with energy DPS. Ignoring that current on-screen turn rate, based on what I've seen of the turn rate, it's even going to be reasonable to go a cannon scatter volley build on this ship. But I would even utilize beam overload and beam fire at will, and I would be more than happy to utilize a broadside or forward arc on this ship. It's a reasonably well balanced out ship. It is forward biased, and it will definitely perform best with a forward biased build, but I have no qualms in saying scatter volley, fire at will, overload, they're going to be great. As for specialization builds, well, I focus on that temporal somewhere else, but the Miracle Worker will also benefit the energy build type, and as such I can see some advantages to it. The big thing I want to note here is that not to underestimate this ship's energy DPS potential. If I got this ship, I would specifically be going energy DPS to show people, to prove that this ship is powerful in that realm. And you know what? Powers in comparison. Because what this ship can really do well, of course, being a science ship, is EPG. But it takes it to a new level. You see, this ship is set up perfectly to allow it to do a hybrid EPG build of varying types, forms, and if you are a support player and want to go along the support aspect of things, you can still get a great deal of DPS, great deal of EPG, or even tanking, rolling that support build. So much so that, as far as I'm concerned, this ship is just beautiful. I'm kind of disappointed it's going to cost so much, because I would be recommending it to everyone if it didn't. If this ship was in the Zen store, I would be shouting at everyone, pick up their ship. But the thing I really want to point home here is, this ship is going to be an EPG monster. EPG DPS, side DPS powerhouse. But it's also going to be a Dusai powerhouse. Do not underestimate what level of energy damage output you can get with this ship while running a science build. Please do not underestimate that, because that to me is the category greatest strength of this ship. Dusai in EPG. When I finally get my hands on this ship, I'm going to be celebrating. I'm going to be as happy getting this ship as I was when I got the Minerva. When I got the Excelsior 2. That ship made me celebrate. This ship's going to do the same. So guys, if you really want to know if you should get this ship, my DPS score for this ship is 8 out of 10. My Dusai score for this ship, 9 out of 10. And my EPG score for this ship is 9.5 out of 10. My overall score of this ship, it loses position because of, I said I wouldn't mention it, but loses points for reasons. So I'm going to give this ship 8 out of 10. Hang on a second, that high and it's losing points. I might be a little bit biased towards really loving the Protostar. Cryptic, make a version of this ship for children. Because otherwise right now I'm not happy with you. But I'm so happy to be seeing this ship in the game. Hope you guys are happy with it too, because I don't want to be the only one celebrating when I start seeing these ships flying around. And me there trying to keep up with my little magic class. Go faster! Did I? No, I didn't do that. I kid, a joke. Of course I didn't forget the console, totally. Nope, we have the console universal to talk about, the reformed living construct. When activating this console, it will cause the living construct to breach the systems of surrounding vessels, locking weapons on each other and engaging each other in combat. It does not affect the player's ship or living stellar creatures. Important that they mention that because there are plenty of living stellar creatures in this game and would be important to understand it. Now, the Valnakut... I can't even say that one. The Nakut living construct has a powerful weapon against the Federation. You know, it doesn't matter how many times I've heard this said, I can never just say it myself. I physically can't say it, which is annoying me, and I keep practicing. A powerful weapon against the Federation, but through persistence, understanding, and no small amount of gumption of the youth named Gwendala was able to intercede. I'm just stumbling on words right now. And save the Federation. How precisely a more friendly living construct came to serve aboard this Protostar class is highly classified. But it promises to be a powerful ally that was once an adversary. The effective use of this console is interesting. Take over up to 8 nearby targets for a set number of seconds. Love it, the fact it's not been said there. Confusing them, placating them, and engaging them in combat. This is lovely. They'll also receive a scaled bonus damage boost that is dependent on your control expertise and your auxiliary power. So the better your control expertise, the better your auxiliary power, the greater the bonus damage they will receive. This is so... Basically, this is done for a reason, and if it wasn't done, I'd be turning around to all of you and basically saying, fuck this console. Okay? Luckily, it had this, so this console isn't complete trash, but normally enemies have such poor damage output that, quite frankly, turning enemies against each other is a joke. But in this case, that bonus damage they receive will be substantial enough that it will feel like, should you have 8 enemies in your control, it will feel like you have one ally fighting alongside you. It would be the easiest way for me to describe it, based on what I was looking at and seeing. The passive benefits of this console will be a boost in control expertise and shield power. So that's quite useful. It would have been nice if that was auxiliary power, but that's just purely because of what this console benefits from. I will note though that seeing shield power is something I like. Shield power is underestimated by people, but a strong shield power benefiting your shields can make the shield tanks, well, make or break a shield tank. Now then, the trait, Hex Grid Shield Focusing. This is interesting. You will unlock the trait once you reach the level 5 point. Ha ha ha. While the trait is slotted, manually redistributing your shields will grant you a critical severity based on your total capacity shields for your forward shields. Now, I don't know if you know this yet, but there is a really good shield you could put on in combination with this. It's a shield that is really weak on its aft, but as a result of sacrificing rear defensive strength, it boosts forward and sides. So with port, starboard and bow protected, aft vulnerable, redirecting all shield capacity forwards, because you don't have to keep redistributing them everywhere. You can just manually redistribute your shields forwards to keep that capacity at its max. Up to a cap of 60,000 on your forward shields. Positioning yourself correctly in this scenario will make you a terrifyingly strong shield tank. Because although that is a very small cap, if you're already a shield tank, that can be basically the difference between a temporary drop and just sitting there permanently at 100%. And if you know your shield tanking traits, you know that some of them are very important on you maintaining up the high end. I can still see this trait being very useful to shield tanks. Now admittedly, everyone else, this trait is scrap. This is a crap trait. But okay, it's helping out shield tanks, and to be fair, it's also helping out just general shield defense. As we all know, shields could use some love, but I don't think the way to go about it is traits, because that is only helping shield tanks. Honestly, I was hoping to see like a console that majorly increases shield defenses, like increases shield hardness by 90% or whatever its current is, like bonus shield hardness on top of whatever it currently is. That would have been beautiful, but that's not what we got. Honestly, sorry for the term. On a lockbox ship, the console and trait must be good. It's an expensive ship. It could cost you £300. This is the problem with the gambling part. Aimed at kids is what I mean. So, when it comes to this kind of thing, I always expect it to be higher. This is why, for me, the console is only a 5 out of 10. And why the trait is only a 2 out of 10. Because they're very limited in usefulness. And as such, I can't see people slotting these. I really can't. I can see certain builds wanting to slot these. But as a general use, not happening. And something this expensive, it has to be general use. You can be highly specialized on something that's going to cost you 20 quid to get, because that's fair. But if it's £300 to get, no, you want it to be more useful than have a 1 or 2 uses. That is my problem with it. I'm going to drop it there. With this all being said then, let's wrap it up, guys. My first thing I want to state is to those of you who understand how this is getting around gambling, is it because the Cryptic is in the United States? I think it's in the United States, or is it because where Cryptic is based, gambling has its own laws and it's just those laws that apply? So even though this is going out to other countries, their own gambling laws that technically they're breaking, oh, I'm pretty sure they're breaking, it doesn't matter because only the laws of the country they're based in apply? Or could someone just tell me how is this is standardly aimed at children? Okay, I would just really appreciate, you really would help out my ADHD, because I'm not going to be able to switch this off, and I haven't since they announced it. I have not been able to switch this off, and it's been stressing me out. But outside of that, any thoughts on the ship, please let me know below. I love feedback on that. If you found this helpful or useful, got your mind going, love to hear from you. And heads up, although what you saw today is not necessarily how my future reviews are going to be, it's a guiding platform, a guiding trait of where they're going to go. I am going to cover things as detailed as I can. This will make reviews longer, but I hope useful as well. If you want quick looks at ships, people that will explain in really good points how the ships work, trust me, I can list a few people. And hey, check out on my main channel, you'll see I've got some people listed down there. Go check them out. Seriously, check out the Stews, sorry. Check out them both. Grumpy or Null, go check him out. There's too many people I can list at this point. They're my favourites to check out, I'm going to be honest. Oops. I'm sorry to you others, I do like your content too, okay? With that being said, guys, thank you. Before I get myself shot at by the other SDO community members, thank you to people credited on the screen. Later. Live long and prosper.